we're going to be going over how you measure yourself for my universal drop shoulder sweater pattern. This video might also be helpful for you if you want to DIY your very own drop shoulder sweater, but if you want to do that, I highly recommend checking out my universal pattern because it will help you with all the math and construction. All right, so let's just dive right into it. So you're going to need a flexible measuring tape, and the first thing that we are going to do is measure our chest circumference. So we're going to take the tape measure, put it around the largest part of your torso. My pattern does not have any shaping for the body, so if your sweater is going to go past your hips and your hips are larger than your chest circumference, you're going to want to get that measurement. But generally, you just want the largest part of your torso, which is either your hips or your chest. And you're just going to mark where the largest part all the way around your body is, like that, and input it into the pattern. All right, the next one is arm circumference. So similar to the chest circumference, you just want the largest part of your arm. That's usually your bicep. So you're gonna go all the way around your bicep and measure to where that measurement is. And you don't want to squeeze it super tight where you see like your skin indent a little bit. You also might find it helpful to like kind of flex your bicep a little bit just so that you don't make a sleeve that's super tight, and then mark where that measurement is. The next measurement determines how long you want your sleeves to be. So if you want a long sleeve, you're going to go all the way down to your wrist. But if you're wanting like a short sleeve, if you're wanting a 3/4 sleeve, you'd stop at a different point. But how we measure it is you're going to take the tip of the measuring tape and put it right next to your neck. So right on the edge of where your neck and shoulder meet. You're gonna go over your shoulder, so not in front of it, you're going over the shoulder and then going all the way down and then finding where you want the sleeve to end. That is your neck to wrist measurement. If you want the sleeves to go a little bit over your hand, you might want to do something a little bit farther down the hand, or you could stop right at the wrist depending on where you want the sleeve to end. So like I mentioned, if you are wanting a 3/4 sleeve, you would just mark wherever you would want the sleeve to end here instead. Next is the neck circumference. The neck circumference helps in making sure that the hole for your head is going to be big enough and comfortable and not too big, not too small. And how you do that is put the tape measure around your neck. And one thing to note about this is we do not want to do up high, because you can see this top that I'm wearing right now is not up here. It's down here. So you want to measure kind of where your collar would sit. And there's our measurement. Okay, now the wrist circumference. This is wrist circumference, but also kind of the bottom of your sleeve. So if you did do a 3/4 sleeve, you're gonna want actually like where the sleeve is ending rather than the actual wrist measurement. You can measure relatively tightly to the arm and there will be ease added to it, so it won't be exactly that measurement. But wherever your sleeve ended, so if it's like short sleeves, you'll do your bicep. If it's 3/4 sleeves, you'll want to do around your forearm. And then if you're doing long sleeves, you're going to want your wrist, and you can just measure that way. Now for the length of the sweater. Usually whatever top you're wearing is going to have a seam at the very top of the shoulder. You're going to place the tape measure right onto that seam, and you're just going to hang it down. And an important note about this is you want to measure over your chest, not around it. And then you're just going to measure where you want your sweater to end. So 23, 24, around there is usually like a standard length sweater. And then around like 16 to 18 is usually like a cropped sweater. So it just depends on where you want, but make sure it's in front of your chest while you're measuring. And then the very last measurement, this is really only important if you want to make a V-neck sweater rather than a crew neck. So this is a crew neck versus a V-neck. Looks like a V. So you want to measure the V-neck depth to know how low of the V you want. And to do that, we're gonna measure it the same way like we did with the length. So we're gonna put it right on that seam of our shoulder and measure straight down. You're going to kind of look at where you want on your chest to have the V end, and then go across and see where that measurement is. So like if I want the depth of this collar here, I just go across and see that it's around 4 inches. That is how you measure the V-neck depth. For the crew neck depth, there is a built-in measurement for that, so no need to worry about that. You can just leave that blank. And that is how you measure yourself for my universal drop shoulder sweater pattern. This pattern is a pattern that allows you to fully customize your own drop shoulder sweater. I really hope this video helped you out. If you're interested in the pattern is linked down below. I really hope your sweater turns out super great. Thanks for watching. Bye.
I wish I could leave my skin behind in this old rented room. Float my way across the great divide and be buried